Hello, I am Yeti, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you the step-by-step process you need to apply for permanent residency in Canada and become a permanent resident. So basically, I'll be talking about the steps you need to immigrate to Canada through the Express Entry program. So if you have ever thought about immigrating to Canada, then this video is exactly what you need. And by the end of this video, you should be able to do this application all by yourself without needing help from consultants or lawyers. But if you still choose to use a consultant or lawyer, that's fine. So if you're interested in this type of information, stick with this channel and make sure you subscribe, because I share lots of information that will help you with your immigration journey, and I also upload videos weekly. So the very first thing you should do is get your international passport. And I know this sounds extremely funny, but what I realize is that sometimes people actually do not get their passport beforehand. Until a few days ago, I actually did not realize that there are people who did not have their passport. So I was talking with someone who has always been talking to me about this process. What can I do? The person was talking to me and I'm like, okay, the first thing you need to go and do this, but you need to go with your passport. And the person is like, I don't have a passport. I'm like, you want to immigrate to Canada, you don't have passport. So please, when you start thinking of this whole Canada thing, the first thing you should be thinking about is get your international passport. It is extremely important. You cannot travel out of Nigeria or out of any country in the world without having an international passport. So get your passports, please. And the second thing you need to do is get your credentials assessed. That's what I advise and what I recommend. And this credential assessment is actually used to verify the credibility of the degree, diploma, or certificate that you're bringing from your country, and verify that it's actually equivalent to a Canadian one. So Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, which is popularly known as IRCC, do not do this credential assessment themselves. They have some bodies they've actually kind of assigned it to that does this credential assessment for them. The designated organizations that they have is World Education Service, which is popularly known as WES. We have the International Credential Assessment Service of Canada, which is known as ICAS. And also there's the Comparative Education Services, CES. This one is affiliated to University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies. And also there's the International Qualifications Assessment Service, which is IQAS. And as well, we have the International Credential Evaluation Service, ICES. Aside from this, there are also professional bodies that actually authenticate and assess regulated occupations. They're also recognized as a step in the licensing process when you finally get here. So the designated bodies that we have is the Medical Council of Canada, which is called MCC, and also the Pharmacy Examining Board of Canada, PEBC. So usually it will cost you around $220 to $265 to actually do this credential assessment, but you're going to pay extra for courier services. If you need more in-depth information to decide on which of these bodies you want to use, I'll put the link to them in the description box, so you can go there, just go straight to their website and find out the one you want to use. So this brings me to the third step, which is your language ability. And I would advise that you write this test after you've done your credential assessment, or at least towards the end, when you're sure that your assessment is going to be out soon, because sometimes there could be a lot of delay with the credential assessment, maybe due to how late it is to get your transcript. Because, for example, I've met people who took them almost a year to get their transcript sent from Nigeria to the credential assessment body. It might not be like that in your own country. It could take less, but depending on your situation, I would say you should actually do your credential assessment first, or at least start it before you actually think of doing your language abilities test. So the major language in Canada is English and French. So you can get tested on either of the language, or you can even choose to do both of the language. But if you do both, then you have to choose which one you want to actually use as your main language. So usually you'll be tested on your writing, your reading, your listening and speaking, because they want to make sure that you actually understand, you have a full grasp of the language that you're actually putting as your main language. And to measure how well you understand and speak English or French, Canada uses a grading system called the Canadian Language Benchmark, That's for English. And for French, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this. I'm going to put it on the screen. It's called NCLC. That's what they use to actually grade French. And on both of these grading system, there are 12 benchmarks, and on both grading system, 12 is the highest. So if you get 12, it means that your French or your English language skill is very strong or even close to being flawless. While if you get 1, that's the lowest. So to qualify through the Experience Entry program, you need to get a minimum score of 7 in all abilities. That's your speaking, listening, reading, and writing. So there are a couple of bodies that actually test people on their French or English language, but Canada has only approved 2 bodies for English and only 1 for French. So for English language, they use CELPIP. That's the Canadian English Language Proficiency Index program, and they also use IELTS, which is the International English Language Testing System. And for both, you have to take the general option. Don't take the academic or the general LS. IELTS is the most popular one because you can find it in any part of the world, really. Anywhere you find a British council, you would actually find it. And that's the one I actually did too, that I used to immigrate to Canada. So usually British Council coordinates it. So to know the cost, you have to just visit their site. I know in Nigeria, for example, it costs about 79,000 naira right now. While CELPIP is actually an exam being coordinated by Canada itself, and it's geared towards just immigration programs. But I also have to note here that CELPIP is not available in all countries. It's only available in a few countries that I'm actually going to show on the screen right now. And if you're writing French, you're going to do an exam called TEF. And for information on the French test, you have to go to the French for Business website. They're the ones organizing it in all countries. So there you can find the locations and the cost in different countries, as well as more information about the test. You'll find this on that website. So I'll put the link to this in the description box. And also, if you're taking the French exam, I want you to note that this will give you additional points in the Express Entry. Don't tell anyone French is what is giving people marks. Now you can actually get up to 50 extra points. So if you can, it's a good way to boost your score when you actually get into the Express Entry pool. We're going to talk about that shortly. The next step is actually to know what your NOC is. NOC is the National Occupation Classification System that Canada actually uses to decide what type of job you've done before or what your work experience was, and does this meet the kind of skill they are looking for in this Federal Skilled Worker program. So basically, the NOC classifies this job based on the duties you've performed before on your job, and they also want to know the level you were at when you performed this job. Were you a manager? Were you a supervisor? What role were you in? Before you start your Express Entry application, you want to make sure you're eligible and check your eligibility. I'm going to put a link to the video I've made earlier. I've talked about eligibility, how you calculate the score. The score is over 100 and all that good stuff. I'm going to put it on the screen. So like I said, make sure you subscribe. It's going to be for your own good. A lot of help on the immigration process on this channel, so make sure you subscribe. So let's continue. Like I was saying, the pool is where you're placed with other eligible candidates, and is what people talk about Express Entry pool. This is what I've been telling you. So once you're in this Express Entry pool, IRCC would give you points based on several factors. It's going to be your age, your education, skills, experience, and if you have a spouse or partner and they're applying with you, they also get points for these factors I just mentioned if they actually do their education assessment, and also if they take the language test. So the scoring system in the Express Entry pool is what is referred to as a comprehensive ranking score, and your total points will be used to rank you in the Express Entry pool, and this total score, the ranking, is what is called the CRS score. You can calculate your score by using the comprehensive ranking score tool. I'll put the link in the description box. You can go there and check it. I'll also put that of the eligibility factor tool as well. You can go. But once you start your Express Entry profile, you have 60 days to complete the profile. If you're unable to submit within the 60 days or complete the profile, you would have to start again. So you want to make sure you have everything ready before you start that profile. But if you submit your profile within the 60 days, then you need to be ready to accept invitation anytime, because if you're one of the top ranking people in the pool, for example, then Canada can just invite you to apply to be a permanent resident. So, for example, if your score is 478 and Canada has actually chosen the cutoff score to be 456, it means you'll be selected when the next round of invitation is issued. So this is what is actually called ITA, invitation to apply. So, but if your score is lower, then you would have to be in the pool till your score actually matches up to whatever the cutoff score is. While you're doing your credential assessment and English language test, there's nothing that stops you from trying to look for a job in Canada. Because if you get a job offer in Canada, during this process, you would actually get extra points. Once you've submitted your express entry profile and you rank high in the pool and you're called to apply, you're invited to apply, the next thing now is how you would complete the forms online and submit all the necessary documents. But I want to say you need to have started collecting these documents from day one. Don't wait, because the thing is, the invitation to apply as a permanent resident is only valid for 90 days. You would think the 90 days is a lot of time, but you'll find out that the days will just run. Like in my own case, I think it was when I had just 27 days left. I'm like, oh my God, where did all the time go? Then I started running around to get all the documents. So you want to make sure that from day one, when you start this process, you start actually collecting your documents so you don't start running around, especially like the reference letters, for example. You need to make sure that there's a format to use. So you need to make sure that the letter they are giving you from your work actually tallies with the job duties you have in the NOC. Because if it doesn't tally, then it's a problem. Then it will look like you're not actually qualified or experienced in that job or that role you are claiming. So you need to make sure you have this. You need to make sure that your company or the place you're working would actually issue you that letter. Because I've actually met people where the company they are working at did not even want to issue them this letter. Because, I mean, it means you are going to be leaving them, you are migrating somewhere else. So they were not even ready to issue this letter. So you want to make sure that you start looking ahead to how you're going to get this document collected when the time comes. So you want to make sure that you start filling out the online form from day one. And you can do this by signing into your account, the one you created for Express Entry initially. If you sign into it, you'll find the link that will actually take you to the permanent residence application for the Express Entry. So as soon as you fill these forms, make sure you answer correctly and truthfully, please. Because if you are dishonest in that form and they catch you, they will ban you for 5 years. They can even cancel your document and they will ban you. So don't do that. Make sure you don't waste time in filling these forms. Make sure you get all the documents you need. The first one, like I said, your international passport. Don't be like some people, I don't want to call their names, that don't have international passport and they are looking at traveling out of Nigeria. Then also, I'm so sorry. And also, you need to have your digital passport taken. There will be a measurement. You can go to the IRCC website. There's a measurement that you need. You would also need your police certificate. The reference letter, make sure you're getting reference letter for each and every experience you're claiming. So if you're saying you have skills in 0A and B, make sure you have a reference letter showing this, showing you have that skill in each of those areas. You would be asked to go and do medical examination. So there are places that have been assigned to actually do medical exams by Canada in each country. So you can find out from IRCC website too. You can get where you can do your medical exam in your country. Proof of fund. This is really, really important. I'm going to put how much you need to immigrate to Canada. I'll put it on the screen. So it's dependent on your family size. So how much a single person needs is different from a family of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's different. And this is one thing you want to make sure you're already getting together by the time you're starting this process, because you'll be asked to actually submit 6 months worth of your statement, because they want to make sure when you come here, you'll be able to settle down. You would not need any help or anything like that from the government. And you would actually also need birth certificates for yourself, for your kids. If you have kids that are adopted, you also need to have their adoption certificates. But just know you need your birth certificate. Make sure the name on your birth certificate tallies with your passport. Make sure everything tallies. Then if you're married, you need to have your common law certificate or your marriage certificate, as the case may be. You want to make sure you have that certificate. And like I said, your names must tally in all your documents. Of course, let's say if you've changed your name like myself, I had to also put my change of name document, the newspaper publication I did and all that. I had to put it there. And if you're divorced, you want to put your divorce certificate or your separation certificate, because they will ask if you've been married before, if you're divorced and all that. It's part of the application form you fill. And if you have any of your family that are deceased or are late, they would also ask for their death certificate. They want you to put it there, so they know in case maybe their children or somebody related to them and related to you want to come to Canada. So you have to put that document there as well. And if you have somebody that is related to you in Canada, maybe your brother, your sister, your mom, grandparents, who are related to you in Canada, you want to also be able to prove their relationship to you. You need to get the birth certificate on both sides. Prove it somehow that you guys are related. These are some of the compulsory ones I know they need. There could also be other documents that you might need, maybe to do some sort of explanation of what happened at one time or the other. And this is not the time to chip out on scanning. If you're scanning your document, make sure you're scanning real legible copies that anybody can actually read, because any mistake in this document, when you upload it, if they can't see what you've uploaded, they will return it. And when they return it, you will start again. So because these people, they don't have time, they are reviewing document for hundreds of thousands of people, and they will not be looking at your document to see if it's clear or not. So don't chip out. This is the time to actually get clear copies of your documents scanned. So once you have uploaded all the documents and you have filled all the forms, the system will automatically generate the amount you pay to tell you what you need to pay and all that. So the fees normally would include processing fees for yourself, your family members. That's all the family members you've included. Usually for the kids, it's different. It's way lower than for the adults. So it will include all these fees for you. One of the fees will be your right of permanent residence. But you can choose to pay this later. But my sincere advice, just pay everything now. If they don't give you right of permanent residence later, they will refund your money, because you don't want, because you didn't pay something is why they'll be delaying your application much later. Because I made that mistake. I paid only for processing fee. I didn't pay for right of permanent residence, but I had to pay later. So, and it kind of slowed me down a bit. So you want to make sure you pay. But after you submit your application, if anything changes, because anything can change, you can get married, or you could have another kid, or something might happen, and you want to update your application, there's actually a web form that you can actually fill to make these changes and all. If you don't update it, for example, if you just had a baby, you might not be able to bring the baby, God forbid. So please update. Once all this is done and you've uploaded your documents, you've made the payments and all that, you've done any changes you need to do, if you have to, they will send you what is called acknowledgement of receipt. IRCC is the one that will send you that one, acknowledgement of receipt, which is usually called AOR. Lots of short forms in this state, so you need to get used to the lingo. So they will then, as soon as they get that, they've acknowledged your receipt, the next thing they'll start doing is start reviewing your application. And once they review your application and everything is okay, is when they'll stamp your passport. But right now, let's look at the application review and the processing. So this part is really crucial. I would say for me is the most crucial part, because this is the waiting game. Like you're really tensed in this part because you don't know what can come. They can still deny you at this point, and I pray that doesn't happen. So this part is crucial. This is where if you've messed up before in your document submission, you didn't scan good copies, or you were dishonest, this is the time they can actually catch you. And like I said, if they actually catch you that you were dishonest, or you didn't, or let's say you didn't even just fill your form correctly, or you missed some parts that you did not fill or something, they can actually refuse your application. And imagine after all the things you've done, you've been in the pool, then they refuse your application. So you want to make sure that all the other steps I've mentioned before, you do them perfectly, so that you don't have all this refusal. Then if they find out you're dishonest, you've lied somewhere in your form, they can actually bar you from coming to Canada or applying for anything, not just this immigration, even for visiting. For 5 years, you won't be able to apply, you won't be able to do anything. So you want to make sure that you don't make this kind of mistake. And usually from the time they receive your application, not when you are doing your own, when they receive your application till the end of when you get your stuff, usually takes them about 6 months, 1 to 6 months. But in my own case, it took me about, I think, 3.5 months or so. So you might be lucky, it could take less and it could take more. Sometimes it takes more than 6 months. So if you've filled out your application correctly and truthfully, and you've paid your processing fees, you've met all their requirements, you've included all the documents they asked you to include, it shouldn't take much time. Unless there's something really happening, it shouldn't take much time. And you can actually check their site for what the processing time will be as at the time you submitted your application. So this is also on the IRCC website. Really, anything you're looking for is on that website, so you can actually check it. So they will check whether you're eligible. If you meet the eligibility criteria I told you about the other time, this is when they will check if you actually are eligible to have applied. They will check your medical exam report, because they want to know that you're not going to come here and all they'll be doing is footing your medical bill. So they accept some medical issues, but not all. Police certificate also, they will also do background check for you. They want to make sure, not that you have not just committed any crime in your country, you've not committed elsewhere as well. So your police certificate would actually be for every country you've lived in for more than 3 months. I believe in the past 10 years. So it's not just your present country. It's going to be the country where you've lived in the past 10 years, more than 3 months. So if you went for vacation somewhere and you lived there for only 3 weeks, you don't have to get police certificate from them. So all these checks they are doing is to make sure that you're admissible to Canada and that you've not committed crime somewhere or war crimes or anything like that. They'll check it. You can also check their website for things that will make you inadmissible to Canada. It's also on their website. You can go over and check it on the IRCC website. But on your profile that you've created before, they'll keep updating you on the status of your account. They'll keep telling you what they are doing presently, is your what the status of your application is. Are they still looking at it? What they are presently doing, they'll keep telling you. Then they'll tell you to go and give your biometrics. Why they are doing this, they'll tell you to go and give your biometrics. That's your picture, they'll capture you and your fingerprint. This is usually if you are between 14 and 79 years old. If you are not within this range, they won't ask you to do it. You have 30 days to do it, so make sure you do it within the time they've told you to. And if necessary, if there's something they don't understand in your document or they need some explanation, they will ask you for more documents. Hopefully you meet somebody who is really relaxed and not so high up there and will just cancel all the whole application. So they'll ask you for more information if they need to. And once they are actually sure of all the documents, they've seen all they want to see, they think everything is good, the next thing they will do is your visa approval, your application approval, and your visa stamping. So you'll be sent an email. Also, you'll be sent an email to your regular email, and also through your profile that they've approved you. They'll confirm your approval, and this is like the most wonderful news you get. I'm telling you, it feels like it feels different. I can tell you for sure. So make sure that as soon as you get this message from them saying that they've confirmed your application for permanent residency, that you pay your right of permanent residence fee. You know that fee that I told you that some people choose not to pay sometimes. Make sure as soon as they send you this thing, go and make that payment, because this is the thing that will actually delay them sending you confirmation of permanent residency. This is what is called COPR. So the COPR will have information about who you are. Then also there will be, your face will be there, like the passport photograph, the digital passport you submitted earlier. They'll put it there for you, and you'll have other information as well. So this COPR usually will tell you when you can come in. There'll be a lot of information on it anyway, but just make sure that the information is correct. They've not misspelled your name or anything, because if your name is misspelled and is not same as what is on your passport and your other document, they might not allow you to enter Canada later, and you might actually have some issues. So make sure that the information tallies. If it doesn't tally, make sure you're contacting them through your account as well, so they know and they can make these corrections. So usually the COPR will extend till the end of your medicals. The medical exam you did, the COPR will extend till the end of that medical. So you want to make sure that you come or you land in Canada within that time, because it expires. And if it expires, they don't give you more time to come. I'm sure there's a way you can do it, but they really don't give you more time to come within that. Maybe you have to do a separate application, but usually they won't extend your COPR. So for the COPR, you have 30 days to submit. Once they give you your COPR, you have set 30 days to submit your passport to the visa office in your country. So I know there's VFS in most places in the world. In Nigeria, there's VFS too. I'll probably put their link in the description box so you can actually go there. So the VFS is where you can actually you actually give your passport to them, they'll get your visa and all that. But note that you need to find the location that is nearest to you in your country that you can go, and you can check this on their website. Their location, you can book your appointment there as well. You can also find out the fees they'll collect, because at this visa office, this VFS office, they actually charge you. It's not free, so you have to find out what the fees is about. You take along the letter, that COPR letter that you were issued. You will take it along with your international passport and your digital passport. But the good thing about this VFS thing is, within 2 weeks, they would actually send back. Within 2 weeks of you giving them your passport, they would actually send you back your document. So you would have everything within 2 weeks. But what you need to understand is that COPR that you're going to, the visa that they are going to give you, is only going to be valid till the end of your medicals as well. So it's not going to last forever. So within that time, you need to make sure you land in Canada. So when you come to Canada, then you get your permanent resident card, and you will no longer need that particular visa, because that visa is only a one-time visa. You can't use it. It's not multiple entry visa. You can only use it one time. So within 2 weeks, once you give your passport to them at the VFS office, you should get it back. In fact, if you don't get it back within 2 weeks, call them. I can remember how excited I was when I did I literally left the office. I went to get my passport from the courier office. I think it was DHL then. I went to get it from them. So make sure you go back, go to VFS office, go and get your passport if you don't find it, if you don't get it back in 2 weeks. And there's nothing else to say. It means congratulations. So if your application is rejected or is refused for some reason, what I want you to know is that you can still be considered in the future for other rounds of invitations. It's not as if once they reject you, then it's rejection forever. No, you can actually even go back into the pool to express another interest that you want to submit another express entry profile. You can do that. You can also try to meet the eligibility criteria, and the way you can do that is by doing some things. One, you can actually apply for jobs, but more importantly, before I even go into that, there's the website. There's a place on Canada government website where you can actually find what the historical, like what the scores have been in, let's say in the past few months or in the past few years, what the recent score is. So you can check, okay, compared to my score right now, what is the score they've been getting? Are they been choosing 456 and my score is actually 410? So then you can decide on how to improve your score. And one of the ways to improve your score is actually, like I said, by searching for a job in Canada. You can do this by applying to all these job boards. We have Indeed, there's LinkedIn, there's a whole lot of other job boards in Canada that you can apply to. There are also Facebook groups. I've actually come across quite a number of them that actually advertises jobs for international applicants. You can search them on Facebook, join this group. You can never tell when they'll put something out there that would actually match your experience or your skill. So you can look for a job in this way. You can also take French. Like I said earlier, if you're English speaking and you are able to communicate in French at least, there's a possibility you get between 25 and 50 points additional in your express entry pool. But what I want to say is, don't just sit in the pool. If you have tried all these things and your score is still low, try and apply through the provincial nominee program. And you can do this by actually showing expression of interest. You do this by actually applying through what is called expression of interest. And if any of the provinces nominate you, you get additional 600 points. So imagine if you have just 300 and a province nominates you. So instantly you're getting 900. So tell me which cutoff choose that they will not pick you. 900 out of 1,200, they will pick you. In fact, in the past few months, all the scores have been around 450 something to 470. So if you have this score, definitely you'll be picked. So you want to make sure you also work on this thing. If you've been trying this other way, it's not working, try the provincial nomination route. See if it would actually add to your score. But the thing with applying to the provinces, once you apply to that province and they actually nominate you, you would have to live in that province for a number of years. Sometimes some will say 2 years, some will say 3 years. But who knows, you might actually even fall in love with that province and decide to stay there. If this information I've shared to you today, if you found anything in this information useful, please make sure you're liking my video and make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell so that you can keep getting notified of any videos I have in the future. And comment below if there's something you don't understand about what I talked about, or you have something you want to share. Please comment below. Let's hear from you. And that's it for today, and I'm going to see you in my next video.